hit it. Okay, excellent. All right. I think we have enough people to start. So yeah, we talked about in last class, for those of you who were not there, I hope you saw the recording, but we talked about, how you can manage your time well, and what leads to, unproductivity. So we talked about these four different hormones that get released when you actually do the things. So we were talking about, you know, actually doing things versus being online. What are the disadvantages of always being connected online? So what happens is these four hormones don't get released, and as a result of that, our sleep, our happiness, our health, and our relationships are affected, right? So we need to do actual things, right? We need to do actual hands-on projects. For example, building a Lego, right? Lego set, that gives you a sense of completion. Same way, being healthy and joyful releases this hormone called endorphin, right? So we need that too. And then when we selflessly contribute something, we talked about doing voluntary service, doing a voluntary activity somewhere, food bank or anywhere, else, and then helping somebody without expecting anything, that helps release this serotonin. And then finally, meeting people in person or playing with friends outside, that gives you this oxytocin, right? So we need all these four to feel well. So that was it. And then we talked about the time management metrics, right? That which are the quadrants we want to be, right? We don't want to be always in a hurry and crisis situation. We need to plan our activities well, and have a schedule, right? Now of course there will be sometimes there'll be some urgent stuff come up, and that time we can be in the quadrant of action, but most of the time we want to be in the quadrant of quality, where we are planning for things, right? And we should also avoid these two quadrant here, quadrant of waste, unproductive engagements, unproductive stuff, just chatting. You must have seen a lot of kids chat randomly, just Discord and what have you, that, or just unnecessarily wasting time. We should avoid these things, right? So if we avoid the last two quadrant, we will mostly be in the top two quadrants, especially the second quadrant, because we will have time to do a lot of things. All right, moving on. Then as I said, uh, which mode the time waster, right? So if you don't
Wait,
set
I missed
goals,
the previous slide. Could you go back?
yeah, the previous slide.
Yeah, so, yeah, and like, what was the positive, negative thing from yesterday? I didn't understand that one either.
Sorry, repeat the question again.
What was the positive, negative thing from yesterday? I wasn't quite understanding it.
Oh, okay. So the positive thing is, see, if you are in mode of goodness, right? We talked about mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance, right? So if you are in mode of goodness, and that means you are doing the right things, right? You are not uh, wasting time, or you are not just doing trivial things. Then you can plan things well, and you can have a schedule and everything, and you can be here in the quadrant of quality. Now sometimes there'll be an urgent thing, like a homework is due tomorrow, or some crisis happens, then you can be in quadrant of action. But what this is trying to tell is that we need to avoid these not important quadrant 3 and 4. If we avoid these activities, then that will give us enough time so that we can focus here on the top two quadrants. That's what it's trying to tell you. Okay. All right. Moving on, these things will, these are some examples which will tell us, which mode we are. So if we don't set goals, right? Or if we set goals and don't stick to them, then, clearly we are not in mode of goodness. And, moving around and socializing too much to feel security. So we should feel secure within ourselves. Of course, socializing is good, but we can be in a state where we always need friends to be happy. Sometimes we need to learn to be happy with ourselves. For example, reading a book, or doing anything, helping your parents with some chores. All those things should give you satisfaction. It should not be like, I always need friends, I always have to have fun, I always need to play to feel good. Any meaningful thing you do around your house can also make you feel good, right? Can whoever is not talking, put the mic on mute. I'm getting some disturbance. Not sure from where it's coming. Okay, thank you. So then, concentration, right? So we should, this is very important, especially in today's age of electronics, where there are so many things which can distract us, right? So we need to have a focus. We should not get distracted by every little thing, right, that is around us. And trying to do multiple things. So I'm sure you have heard this word of multitasking, but to tell you the truth, the brain cannot do multitasking, and have quality. So at any given time, you can do just one thing, and one thing well. Now you can try to do two or more things, and unfortunately, you will find out that you are not able to do any of those things well. So we should focus on one thing at a time, and not accept unrealistic deadlines, right? And then sometime you will see that people get involved in a project or in a team just to, you know get credit or popularity, right? So the other team members are doing the job, and they just want the fame, right, that comes with it. So avoid those kind of things. Indecisiveness and postponing decisions. You should have a clear thinking, right? What do you want to do? What are the things that are important? And prioritize them and focus on them, right? And thinking that, yeah, no one else can manage my work if I'm absent. So we should know. So suppose, uh, let's say you are in a team and you are going on a holiday. So you should be able to delegate your task to your team members, right? You should not think that if I'm gone, nobody will be able to do my work, because in that way you will never be able to take a break. So you should be able to teach others how to do your work also. All right. So these are some of the things, that tell us, which mode of nature we are in. We are in mode of goodness, we are in mode of passion, or mode of ignorance. All right. Okay. So lastly, we'll summarize what we have learned so far, and then we will move on to the next one, right? So personal life brings relationships. The relationships bring us joy, right? And professional life, what happens, the results bring us joy. So we should be able to separate between the personal life and professional life. In your case, it's the school life, right? This professional life, you can call it the life in the school, and this is the life at the home, right? So these are the two things. So we have to focus on improving communication with people, have better preparation, better planning, and better organizing, taking care of yourself. So you should always play a sport, maintain a good health, maintain good hygiene, right? And of course, look for new opportunities, personal development, always try to learn new things along with your study also. I'm sure you all have hobbies, or you like to learn new things. So you should focus on personal development. And preventive maintenance, what this means is being in the second quadrant, always planning things and organizing things so that you don't end up in crisis situation, right? Okay, any questions so far before we move on? Anybody has any questions? Okay, so why all the billionaires wake up at 4 a.m.? I'm gonna ask you. Okay, Mahika, yes, you have a question. Go ahead, Mahika.
I don't have a question. I wanted to answer.
Why all the billionaires wake up at 4 a.m.?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
So, there's a reason why billionaires have so much money. So they must do a lot of management, or they run companies. That's why, so maybe they need to wake up and look if everything's fine.
Okay, yeah, that's a good answer. Okay, Dhruv, and then Devin.
So there's lots of ways. I myself is a guy who's interested into billionaires and how they earn that much money. So my answer is that they wake up at 4 a.m. because for them to manage all their money, they takes them at least 20 hours, and it takes them 20 years, just 20 hours a day. For 20 years, they would get $1 billion. That's how much it takes. So then they must be working really, really hard to get all that money. So they must be like getting up really early so they could, earn all that money.
And plan their day and organize things. Okay, Devan and then Nikita. Devan, go
Okay.
ahead.
I think they wake up early. Same explanation as everyone who already answered. They want to work more and finish all the work and organize everything so they know what to do at the right time.
Okay, Nikita.
Maybe to start working because they work all the time.
Yeah, so the basic point is they want to plan their day ahead. They don't, if you, let's say if you wake up at 8 o'clock or whatever, 9 o'clock, then you are just catching up with the thing because the whole world has already started, right? So you want to be ahead of everyone. So you want to wake up, plan your day, know what is coming ahead, think through things, have a strategy before the whole thing starts at you. Okay, so let's play a video and find out more about.
Why are successful people waking up at 4 a.m. and not a different hour?
Can everybody hear? Is this clear enough? Okay.
Yes.
Well, they know how their brain works, and they take advantage of their brainwave states and brain chemistry. The brain produces electrical patterns, often referred to as waves. When you're first awake, your brain operates at around 10.5 waves per second. The range from 8 to 13 hertz, or cycles per second, is the alpha stage. It's been called the gateway to the subconscious mind. But when you wake up this early, you are between theta and alpha. The mind is capable of deep and profound learning, being fully aware and focused with an effortlessly calm mind. In other words, you don't have to work as hard. You are not thinking. You just relax into the moment. Another important fact known by all successful people is when you wake up, your subconscious mind is most impressionable and soaks up information like a sponge. Whatever you hear, see, or are exposed to in the first 20 minutes will affect you and set the tone for the rest of your day. This is why they meditate, listen to affirmations, and not checking their social media and emails so early. They choose consciously their tone of the day, being focused and positive and not being distracted. They choose to go to bed early and use the premature hours of each day in their own advantage. They make up a routine of waking up before the sun starts to shine and go to sleep after the sun goes down. Why do they go to bed so early? Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is where you can get the most from regenerative and deep sleep. After 2 a.m., sleep lacks the quality that you need as it becomes more superficial, chronically depriving your body of the regenerative sleep which you can enjoy between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. makes you wake up in the morning even more tired than when you went to bed. If you're among those that usually fall asleep well past 10 p.m., you should consider changing the situation. Set up a goal to go to bed earlier by 15 to 30 minutes each week until you hit 10 p.m. bedtime goal. Early risers like Apple CEO Tim Cook, Oprah Winfrey, and Dwayne Johnson choose to greet the day at the crack of dawn because that's where motivation is created, and they don't need to ask for it. That silence of early morning hours is what helps them use their potential to the maximum. Successful people choose to use every minute available in a day because their life's purpose is higher than any other short-term pleasure or comfortable bed mattress. They instill this habit of waking up early in their DNA because they understand how a strong and consistent routine can support a successful life. The human brain can work at its maximum potential when it doesn't have to multitask. The quality level of work is highly dependent on the level of focus. When there are no distractions and noises to disturb concentration, the brain has a great capacity to focus on certain tasks and thus generate a balanced rate between quality and work. Successful people are aware of this, and they use their alone time in the early morning to take full advantage of their brain's functioning capacity. High achievers understand that premature hours of the day allow them to make better decisions as their energy levels are at their peak. Those who live a grand life understand that early morning willpower helps them to achieve high levels of discipline. A disciplined morning guides them towards a whole day of discipline, and this is exactly what supports their successful life. As soon as the alarm goes off, you're facing a bump in the road, and it's up to you to get over it or not. It's up to you to decide whether you use your time in your advantage or not. When everybody else is still dreaming and sleeping in their comfortable beds, it's your time to shine. It's your time to get out of your comfortable zone and have that well-deserved breakthrough. The early morning hours are moments where you can be ahead of things without being distracted. It's a time where you can focus and pay attention to what really matters.
All right, so that was a long explanation, but I think you got the idea. So I hope you all go to bed. Of course, right now you're having holidays, but during your regular week, I'm sure you all go to bed before 10 o'clock and get that nice sleep. As you heard that between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is the best time to get the sleep. You know, that's the time where your body really gets rested. So if you delay your sleeping time beyond 10 o'clock, then you are missing on those hours, which are really needed, right? Okay, moving on. So now we will talk about the 5 S's that are important in life, right? So what are those 5 S's, right? Because these, if we follow these 5 S principles, these will improve our mode of goodness, right? And it will make the purpose of human life successful. So what are those 5 S's? So first is, we have talked about it, this was our first class, that soul. Who am I? We should know, we should always tell ourselves that I am not this body, I am the soul. I'm not this car, I'm the driver, right? That's who I am. So that is the first S, knowing our true identity, right? That's what we should always remember. Okay, next is supreme, right? Just like I am the operator of the bodily car, there is a big operator of the cosmic manifestation, and that's God, right? So we must remember that. Here, Albert Einstein is saying, I believe in an intelligent designer. If I met God, I'll ask how you create a universe, so even Einstein agreed that, there is a creator out there. So we should know first our identity as a spirit soul. Second thing, we should know that there is God, a supreme being, who is creator of this universe and many other universes, and who is managing this whole thing. That is the second S. Okay, third S is scriptures. For example, Bhagavad Gita, right, that we are studying, and there are so many, right? So these are these books teach us how to live our life, and so many positive thinking books and so many business books have been written using the teachings from these scriptures. So of course these books are good. For example, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or the Organized Mind and all those. But we can also read the Bhagavad Gita, like we learn so many things in this course, and learn the source from where all this wisdom is coming. So the third S is scriptures. Okay, moving on. What is the fourth S? Solution, right? So what they are saying is that the Vedic wisdom offers perfect spiritual solutions, right? So we need wisdom to go through life. Life will throw many challenges at us. Life will throw many difficulties at us. And without having a foundation, without having a philosophy to face those challenges, we may be lost, right? So for example, the principle of karma, right? We talked about principle of karma. We talked about, being in the mode of goodness, right? So these are very important things, and why bad things happen to good people, and so many things. You have a lot to see in life, and you will face some obstacles or some difficulties, and that time this Vedic wisdom will offer you the solutions, right? So this is where we look for solutions. And finally, the last S is the sound vibrations, right? So I have talked about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this mantra, so, not only, the billionaires wake up at 4 a.m., Also, the spiritual people wake up at 4 a.m. Or even for that matter, athletes and sports person wake up early. And what they do is, the spiritual people, they chant the mantra or they pray to the God. So they use the best hours of morning for mantra meditation, right? So this is also very helpful. I hope you remember we went through a graph which talked about the, how the reciting mantra helps you calm your brain, and how it helps in focus and everything. So these are the 5 assets. Okay, any questions? So this is where we complete this particular presentation, and I'll move on to the next one. Any questions so far? Yes, Sid, go ahead.
What are the 5 S's?
Oh, sure. So the first one is knowing your identity, that I am the soul, right? So knowing your true identity. So first S is soul, second S is supreme, right? So who is the supreme Lord, right? Knowing that. And third S is, you're good so far, Sid? Third S is scriptures, right? So scriptures are the, scripture means the books, right? The holy books. For example, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, these books have the wisdom from thousands of years, right? Which we can use to, these scriptures give us wisdom to deal with our life. So that is the fourth S, solutions, right? So if you read the scriptures, this will lead to the fourth S, which is solution to the problems that we face in life. And finally, fifth is the sound vibration. For example, chanting the mantra, the Maha Mantra that I told you, or any other mantra that you want to chant, So this is very useful in, this is called mantra meditation. This is very helpful in calming your mind. This is very helpful in connecting with God. This is very helpful in, improving your inner soul. This is food for the soul, as they say. Okay, who else has a question? Mahika, do you have a question? I saw your brother raising his hand, or just he was raising. Okay, probably he was just raising his hand. Okay, no questions, then we will move on. Yes, Mahika.
How long will the class, when will the class end?
We have about another 20-30 minutes to go. Why, you have to go
26
somewhere?
minutes. 26 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have to go somewhere, Mahika? Or are you bored?
No, I'm just asking.
Okay. All right. Yeah, if you get bored, let me know. We'll make it more interesting. All right. All right. So let's move on to the next presentation, which talks about art of smart work. Okay. So let me share my screen and we will do this, right? So can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So there are 3 truths to know about, art of smart work, right? So, we have goals in life, right? So first thing is knowing your goals in life. So the goals can be, for example, you want to do well in studies, right? That is a short-term goal, right? Like you're all going to the next grade and you want to do well in your grade. The long-term goal may be that you want to become an engineer or a doctor or a scientist or whatever may be the long-term goal you have, right? But these are all material goals, right? These are goals which only deals with this world. What about the spiritual goals, right? So you also need to have some spiritual goals. For example, I'll read Bhagavad Gita, or I will chant the Maha mantra meditation, or I will, whatever you want to do, I'll pray every day and to Krishna or, God basically. So these are the goals. So we have to invest in our relationship with God, right? And we have to have, of course, small goals, but we have to progress every day, right? So as part of this course, you all learn a few things about Bhagavad Gita and philosophy of life. Now what you have to do is from here you take it on and learn more and more, right? Don't just stop here. When we end the course, you should continue and let me know. I can give you some books or materials, or I can help you if you want to find out what else you can learn hereafter. So like that, you should have some goals. Then of course, I want to do well in my school, in my grade, but also I have to have some spiritual goal, and I have to work towards them. Because as we said, the material body is not at all, not all in all. It is not everything. There is soul, and then this life is not all in all, right? Because otherwise it'll be very sad, when somebody leaves this body, then it should not be like everything is finished. So it's just a journey. They go on another journey after this life is over. And then same way, material world, we should not think that what we see around us is everything. There is spiritual world also. And if you look at all the astrophysicists and all the astronauts and all the NASA's of the world, and now you must have heard Richard Branson's company sent a rocket in the space, and now Jeff Bezos is going tomorrow or day after, right? So all the humans have this curiosity to find out, okay, what is beyond this world? We can't say this world is everything. There has to be something, and that's what we are trying to find out. So there is a spiritual world also, right? And last but not least, we are not all in all. Above us, God exists, right? So we should also remember that there is God. It's not just the humans, or the humans can't act as God. There is somebody who's superior to everyone and who is controlling everything. All right. Any questions here before we move on? So far, so good? All right. So, talking about the spiritual world, here Krishna is saying, this is a verse from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is saying that the supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return back to material world. So in spiritual world, there is no need to have a sun for light or moon, it's illuminated. And also there is no need for fire or electricity there, right? And Krishna is saying, if you come to spiritual world, you will never come back here, right? This is what Krishna is saying. So we should try to find out more about spiritual world and how we can go there. This should be a natural curiosity, right? Okay. So now somebody may ask, what is the difference between me and God, right? So here it says, God is supremely independent and is never controlled. But can anyone here in this session today say that I'm not controlled, or I'm completely independent and I'm God? Can any of you say that you are fully independent? You are not controlled by anyone or anything or any laws? Can anyone? Yes, Sid, go ahead.
Can I just share something about this?
Yes, please.
I actually think like that we actually have to like that we like have to rely on God for stuff, for everything.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes, Mahika, go ahead.
So this is something funny. So if anyone even wants to say I'm independent, you can't really say that in front of your parents.
Yeah, that's right. So even though you may think in your mind that you are independent, but actually you're not, because until you are 18 years of age, you're not adult, you're living with your parents and you are dependent on them financially and everything. Okay, who else raised the hand? Let's see. Anybody else wants to share anything? Sid, your hand is raised, but I think you already spoke, so you can unraise
I
your
need to say
hand.
something else.
Okay, quickly. Okay,
I think you're actually I actually think you don't really rely on your parents when you're like 13 or 14.
You don't rely on your parents, you think so?
And like you can do things with only you and God.
Okay, only you and God. Okay. Well,
Can I
good.
say
You raised
something?
the point. Okay. You done?
This
Anything else?
this is something funny too. So one time people were coming to my house, and one of my friends was there, and his brothers were like, we were in the backyard playing, and he's like, "I am God, come to me, my pupils," or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So actually, that is funny. I know he was joking, but unfortunately, it happens all the time in this world that every few years or every decade, somebody claims to be God. Some human being claims to be God, and unfortunately, there are people who are ready to follow them, so they will even gather up some followers, and it's all big drama basically. So unfortunately that stuff keeps happening. But you have to ask anyone who claims to be God that like the questions we faced here, are you fully independent, are you not dependent on anyone, are you supremely powerful? So Krishna, when he was very young, he lifted the Govardhan mountain on his little pinky finger, right? And Krishna, when he was a baby, 3 months old, or in fact, few days old, he killed a demon, one demoness who came to kill him, right? So can you do those things? Of course, you can do those things, right? And then, um, uh, do you get old? Won't you die eventually? So those are the things. But anyway, we don't have to worry about answering those people. First, we should learn more about this philosophy, and then hopefully we'll answer them. Okay. So art of smart works is what our topic is now, and we are going to learn in three different ways. First is we are going to have how to make your work worship, right? So somebody may say that, oh, I am how can I be spiritual while doing the same thing? So being spiritual does not mean that you have to always be in temple, or you should always be praying, or you should not do your everyday things, right? For example, right now your most important duty is to be good students, right? And then good kids to your parents. So you can do that, and at the same time you can be spiritual. So this is what we will discuss in this topic, where you can make your work worship. Second is art of relaxed and efficient working, and this has a lot to do with the mode of goodness concept we have learned, right? And uh, oh, the part two came now. So do your best and leave the rest, right? So this is also very important. This is the principle of karma, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna that do your karma, do your best, and don't worry about the result, right? Um, uh, Even though this is, we all have heard this, but we all get attached to our karma, right? So for example, when we write an exam, we are very anxious, what is going to be my grade, how am I going to do it? Or if you play a sports, even though you tried your best, you want to know, okay, where did I stand, how did I do? And we all tend to get disappointment when the results are not to our liking. But we will learn more about this, and it's a difficult thing, but we can still develop it, and actually that will help us stay relaxed and not get so affected by the outcomes of our work. Okay, so we will learn about that. All right, so how can we make our work worship, right? So for example, uh, somebody, so trying to earn money or trying to become rich is not a bad thing in itself, right? What is important thing is what you do with that money, right? So if you just want to earn money because you can enjoy life, right? You can have the best car, you can have the best house, you can have the best of everything, and that is the only goal of your earning money, then probably that's not a great goal, right? So what can be share with me, what can be when you're rich, what can be a good way to use that money, other than just spending it all on yourself? Yes, Mahika, go ahead. Mahika. you want to share
wait
with us?
one sec. Okay, so actually, you can maybe help some animals. Most, wait one second. Okay, so most animals are like, now endangered, so you can help them.
Yeah, sorry, my slideshow got yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the,
go ahead. You are saying we can help animals, right?
yeah, like provide more land and with forests,
Right.
because some are now endangered, like the elephant. It's my favorite animal. It's endangered.
Right. So Maika is saying we can help some animals, right? With that money. It's not like all the money that I earn, I have to spend on myself. Anybody else? Yes, Sid, go ahead.
About the animals thing, anyway, animals are endangered. It's also bad that animals are endangered, but it's also good that they're endangered because they have existed for at least a million. Because animals exist in this world for at least a million years.
But why do you think it's a good thing that they are in danger? You think?
Because they have existed for 1 million years, and 1 million years is actually a very long time.
But we want them to continue to exist, right? Don't animals make this world better? Like it'll be very boring if only human beings lived here, right? I mean, animals make like the world
True.
more interesting, don't they?
One good example, if animals were alive, I feel like some people would feel distressed, depressed, because some animals do help their owners, like dogs, I guess.
Yes, yes, yeah, exactly. So, for example, people like to have pet animals, you know. So I think it's a good idea to help animals. It's also a good idea to help people, right? So, you know, you all are very fortunate. We all are very fortunate that we have abundance of everything in this country, right? We have enough food, we have enough, you know, great roads, all the infrastructure is great. But, you know, think about poor countries, you know, like Africa or even in India, many parts of Asia, where you know kids don't have enough food to eat, they don't have access to good schools, so we would want to help them, right? Yes, Mahika, go ahead quickly.
I just wanted to say, so how one person, he said that if animals are gone, it's gonna be good. We actually count as animals because we're counted as mammals.
Mammals, okay. Yeah,
Well,
never mind.
I pretty much know that we're animals also, but I mean like, but like we have already existed for 200,000 years approximately. That means we should approximately exist for about 800,000 years.
Right, right. No, it's all right. I don't think I know Sid also loves animals. We all love animals, right? So the idea is, you know, we should be compassionate, right? That is the main thing. We should help others, right? So there is nothing wrong being rich, but we should help others. And also, you know, a lot of times we have no control, right, over what family we are born or how we are gonna be. So let's look at some examples, right? So, for example, some people are born rich, right? So, for example, the kids of Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or even Elon Musk, right? They're all rich, so they have no qualification except being kids of rich people, right? So they're fortunate, right? But on the other hand, some people are very poor, right? And same about looks, right? So we can't be too proud of our looks, right? Because we have no contribution in them, right? We some just born that way, right? And same way, you know, having big muscles or being very tall or whatever it may be, we should never be proud of those things because some people were unfortunately they're weak and handicapped, right? So we have no control over these things, right? So if while we should feel very fortunate that we have everything, we should also try to help others, right? And God is witnessing all these activities, right? When we are compassionate to other beings, when we are helping other people, then God is you know he God is witnessing. And this is how we create good karma, right? So this is how we create good karma. And when we live a life of helping others and being compassionate and creating good karma, then we get a very good next birth. So what Krishna says is that whatever state you leave your body, whatever thing you have in your mind at the time of the death, that's the kind of body you get in next life, right? So I think we talked about before this also, right? That in human form of life, we have got this advanced intelligence, right? And we need to lead responsible lives. We cannot engage in sinful activities, right? We cannot behave like animals, right? And because then we will degrade to lower life forms. So if you have got a responsibility, if you have got a human body, you have got responsibility to act in a certain way. You cannot behave like animals because then you will degrade to those things. So how do we lead a responsible life? How do we live a compassionate life? So we have to follow the religious principles, right? So we have to first learn about religious principles. We should know our true identity, which is spirit soul. We should know about God. We should know the law of karma, and we should know that we have to be compassionate to all the living beings. So if we live our life, and of course we should be truthful, we should be compassionate, kind to everyone. If we live our life like this, then we can make it more meaningful. So here are some examples, right? So they are showing austerity, right? So this yogi is doing a tapa. Basically, he's doing austerity. He's doing meditation on Lord. Now, we don't have to go to jungle, or we don't have to go to Himalayas and become a yogi like that and do this. But we can sit in our own home. I'm sure you all have some kind of puja room or some picture of God or something. You can sit for 5 minutes and just chant or close your eyes and meditate on God, right? That is one way. And then sacrifice, right? So sacrifice does not mean that, again, that you give away everything. Sacrifice means it's as simple as sharing, right? So let's say you prepare food for yourself, or your parents prepare food which you like to eat. Why not share it with God? So you offer food to God also. um, how many is there anyone here in their home the food is offered to God, which is called bhog, and then eaten as prasadam? Yes, Mahika, in your home that happens
Yeah, we do that most of the time.
most of the time. Very nice. Who else wants to go?
We
uh,
do it when we're happy.
We do it
Sorry,
on
what
holidays.
you do on holidays? Okay, and Divit, you want to say something?
Yeah, and during the festivals uh we
Offer?
sacrifice to it, and then we eat it as prasadam later on.
Yes, yes. So, there is a science behind it. So any food that you offer, so like even the vegetables that we grow or the fruits that are grown outside or the grains. So the single big, actually there are two biggest factors in that, right? First is the sunlight, right? Because that's how the whole photosynthesis process happens, and how they convert the energy of sun and that to in nutrition. And the second thing is water, right? So both the things we are given by God, the sunrise and the rains. Like you can see what happens when there is a drought situation, and there is no water. So basically, there'll be no grains and no vegetables, fruits. So we have to be very thankful to God. So we have to offer food to God, and then we eat that. So this is the right way, right? We are being grateful. Okay. So this is an example of sacrifice. Now moving on, cultivation of knowledge. Of course, we have talked about it several times, reading Bhagavad Gita or reading Ramayana or Mahabharata, whichever scripture you want to read, and learn the wisdom from it, because this is the wisdom we can use practically in life. Associating with the saintly people. It is said a man is known by the company he keeps. So right now we are associating with each other, and we are trying to learn something good, something important in life. So this is what we have to do. So same way, if you want to become a businessman, you want to hang out with people who are businessmen or entrepreneurs, right? Or if you want to become a sportsman, like a basketball player or whatever, a tennis player, then you want to hang out with people who are good at sports, right? So same way, if you want to know more about God, or if you want to develop spiritually, then you should hang out with saintly people. It's natural, right? Like what we are doing. This is an example of it. This class is an example of it. Okay, so this is the process of elevating to the kingdom of God. So in order to elevate to the kingdom of God, here they are showing stairs. We have to overcome envy. We have to overcome ignorance, lust, anger, false prestige, pride, all these things as we slowly get over. And then as we purify, as we, become a good devotee, then here is the path, and here it's shown that you study the Vedas and scriptures, you perform austerities, you have good sense control, and then finally you reach to God, right? So this is the path to go to the kingdom of God, it's mentioned here. Any questions so far before we jump into next thing? Okay, so today we'll talk about the different types of karmas, right? So first I'll cover the simple thing, which is karma, right? So it's just good work on the material platform that brings us good reaction. So a simple example may be studying for exams, right? So those who study well and prepare well get good grades, right? It's really simple to understand. Or if you are in a sports, if you practice well and you work hard, you are going to do well in the sports, right? Generally, that is what a karma principle is. Now, there is vikarma, which means breaking the laws of God, right? So this is all the wrong stuff, right? So, lying, cheating, stealing, of course, intoxication, smoking, and, all these bad kind of things. When you do, you are breaking the laws of God, right? You're not supposed to do that. So these are called vikarmas. Okay. Clear so far before I move to the last one? All good? Okay.
Yep.
Akarma, right? So what is akarma, right? So these are the activities which are beyond the concept, which are beyond the material nature, so basically you don't generate reactions for them, right? So when you do good karma, good reactions come, right? So we talked about it. When you help somebody, that you it's like punya, I'm sure you have heard that word punya. It's called piety in English, right? So you get piety. When you do bad things, bad things happen. If you are going to smoke, you are going to get some lung disease. If you are going to do some criminal activity, you will go to jail. So these are the reactions for good and bad karma. But a karma is above those two. What it means is there are no reactions. So basically an example of a karma activity is what we are doing right now. You're coming to this class and learning about these things. Obviously this is not gonna help you with your grades in school, right? This is not gonna, you're not gonna get money for doing this, right? So basically this is purely you're trying to learn about God, and you are trying to develop spiritually. So this comes in the category of akarma. Also, when you do kirtan, when you do mantra meditation that I talked about, or you go to temple, all those activities are in the category of akarma. Okay, is this clear before we move on?
Yep.
All right. So now we come to our topic, which is how can we make our work worship, right? So what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm sure many of you have heard this verse, right? Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phal heturbhur ma te sangostva akarme, right? So what Krishna is saying here is that you have a right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. And also never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So you have heard this verse. How many of you have heard this verse? Raise your hands and then share with me your understanding of this verse. No one has heard this verse before. Arush, I think you have heard this.
Yeah.
You want to share with everyone here, or what is the uh, meaning of this, or what is your understanding of this?
You have basically by saying you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, it's saying you can do whatever you have to do, but you should not expect any results because
Right.
there's a chance you may not get your result just because let's take farming for example. You can, water your plants and all that, but a flood can come and you won't get any fruits for your actions. And never consider yourself the cause of the result and don't be attached to doing your duty. Basically saying don't be too hopeful and say I am the one who did this because in the end Krishna also has some part in it.
Right. Very, very good sharing, Arush. Thank you so much. So this is what it means, really, right? Now, a mother who cooks for you every day, right? I'm sure all your mothers are excellent cooks and they make very nice food that you like to eat. I'm sure they ask you sometime, what would you like to eat? And they make that special thing for you, right? But mother is not saying that, oh, I don't get paid for this cooking. I cook every day, or she cleans the house, right? Or she takes care of you, right? Why is that? Because that is her duty as a mother, right? So she's not expecting anything in result. She's just doing her duty, and she's getting joy by seeing you happy, right? So same way your father, right? Your father works outside, the father can say, okay, why I'm the only one who has to go work so hard and face this world, and there are so many difficulties and earn for my family, right? He never says that because that's his duty to take care of his family and make sure everyone is comfortable. So in the same way, when you are studying for your school or any other duty that you're doing, you should do it in that spirit, right? You cannot say, oh, if I study, I have to get this result, or if I'm not getting good results, then I'm not studying this, right? So do you feel that sometimes? Anyone wants to share an example where they have felt like this, that when things don't go your way or the results are not up to your expectation, do you feel like a little disappointed? Yes, Mahika, go ahead.
I don't feel that, but my friend does. So she's pretty bad at the subject called music. So she just developed a negative response to respond to it, and she doesn't like music class anymore because she doesn't always get good grades.
Right. So people can get disappointed, right? And they can say, why is this happening? Yes, go ahead, Nikita and Devan. I think you raised hands.
Okay. Well, sometimes since I take swimming lessons, I like to go to competitions. Yeah, so one time, or my first competition, or my only competition, I really wanted to do something good because it was my first time. Like it, my full opportunity was basically just to get first, second, or third place in the competition out
Right.
of the 4 events.
Right.
I would be happy if I got at least one or
Right.
more, but yeah, so for one of them, I guess I got 4th place. I was happy with the that I got 4th place, but I really wanted to do better for that stroke so I could keep on practicing more. I did
Right.
have a very small amount of disappointment.
Okay, yeah, which is fine. It's natural to feel disappointment. I mean, believe me, I'm not saying it's wrong to feel it, but what I'm saying is, while we are feeling that disappointment, we should also remember this principle. Yes, Nikita, go ahead. You want to share something? Maybe not. Okay, all right. So we have just 5 minutes. So I'll cover one more slide and then we will continue next time. So this is what Arush also mentioned, that we have a right to perform our prescribed duty. but we are not entitled to the fruit of action, right? So he talked about the farmer, right? So how you can put the seeds, and you can dig the soil and do all the work, but there are so many things that have to fall in place. The rain has to happen, the sun has to come, no bugs should come and affect your plants and all that, and then you may get or you may not get, right? So we also talked about that everything is owned and controlled by God. So we thank him by offering the results of our work to God, right? Now this may be food, this may be time, this may be money and energy, right? So we have to remember this principle. And this is the art of performing the work, right? So when you are studying, you study like this, that oh my Lord, you have given me this ability. Thank you for giving me this ability, to remember. Thank you for giving me the intelligence. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to go to a good school, having good parents. And I will use my all the abilities that you have given me, all the opportunities you have given me to the best, and try my best. Rest, it's in your hands. So this should be your mood. Okay. Who I see two hands raised. Yes, Devan and Mahika, quickly, and then we'll end the class here.
I kept my hand up.
Oh, it was up from before. Okay, Mahika, you want? Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
Mahika.
so I just wanted to share something. So how you said God creates everything, I also heard this phrase, God creates stuff for a reason. And that's actually true. Like take a volcano for thing, for example, like it would
Right.
blow up. You think there's no reason for it, but actually the smoke and ashes for the smoke, it actually um was created to grow plants because the ashes have nutrients inside, and when they go to the farming places, then the plants grow better.
Right. Even the all the lava that comes out of it, right? It is very rich in nutrients, right? Even the lava that comes out, so the soil becomes very rich in the nutrients. Yes.
And
Said yes.
sorry, can we leave now?
Yes. So those of you who are done can leave. I think Sid and Devan want to share something, so we'll listen to them. We have 2 more minutes, so we can talk to them quickly, and then we will end the class. Okay. Yes, Sid and Devan.
So now I've been wondering what happens when like the soul doesn't go in another body. Speaking of the soul.
No, that can't happen. That's the law. That's the law of material nature, that the soul has to find another body. It has to go to another body according to its desires, right? So whatever desires you had, you will have to take another body, and you go. God's laws are perfect. Still, it won't happen that the soul won't go in another body unless the soul is going back to God. That's the only situation where it doesn't have to take a body. As long as soul has desires, it has to go in another body. Okay, and we can talk more about it offline. How about that? Okay, I have to listen to Devan and then Dhruv. Okay, Sid, we'll talk more about it. I'll send some material to that. Okay, yes.
Another example of volcano would help was if the lava dries up, the lava would also create more land for Earth. I guess the land would grow because lava dries up easily. Maybe in oceans adds more land to different places where volcanoes erupt.
Right. Yes, yes, Dhruv. Thank you. Sorry, yes, Devan. Dhruv, go ahead. You have something to share.
Yeah, and it might also help because volcanoes can somehow create some sort of formula. I've heard of because of science that it would create some sort of formula that expands a country or a state in a way that it's wider, so it would just be bigger.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear about it, but yeah, thank you for sharing wonderful points. I will see you all next week. Hare Krishna.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.